So this video is about having a security interest in your name. The reason why you need to have a security interest in your name is because as a U.S. citizen, you're considered a debtor. The reason why the U.S. citizen is considered a debtor is because the United States is in debt. It has called the national debt. So by you being a U.S. citizen, you represent the United States. So Khalib is a U.S. citizen. Khalib represents the United States. I represent the U.S. citizen, which is Khalib. So the United States has two creditors, the Federal Reserve and the representatives in the Republic United States, which are the people in the 10th Amendment. So the United States will publicly recognize that the Federal Reserve is a creditor, and it will privately recognize that the people in the 10th Amendment are also creditors. The reason why they'll privately recognize it is because the government converted the people into U.S. citizens to make them sureties for the national debt. That is the reason why the birth certificate is considered collateral for the Federal Reserve note. So, because the people in the 10th Amendment are creditors, you need to have a security agreement. A security agreement is between your name and you. Now, I have a security agreement between me and my name. My name is a corporation. I'm a man. So, you have to have a security interest in your birth certificate in order to be a creditor. Now, the reason why you would be a creditor is because your birth certificate is considered a security. Now, the birth certificate can be looked at two ways. The birth certificate can be looked at the fact that the U.S. citizen owes the United States. And it can also be looked at as that the United States owes the representative of the United States citizen. So when I have a security agreement between me and my name, it's from the perspective that the United States owes me. Now, the reason why the United States owes me is based on HJR 192, which means that the United States will discharge your debt. Now, the reason why the United States will discharge your debt is because as a representative, you have two accounts. You have a Federal Reserve account and you have a securities account. Now, the Federal Reserve account is on the back of the Social Security card, but you had to set up the account with the Treasury. Now, the reason why you set up an account with the Treasury is because the United States is considered an indirect holding system, which means the United States indirectly holds securities. So, a security is like, okay, a car. If I put my car as collateral, and I wanted to borrow some money, then the car is a security for the debt. So, our birth certificates are the collateral for the Federal Reserve note, so the birth certificate is considered a security. Now, the security interest that you have in your name is based on the fact that anything that's held in your name is considered public property, which means that it's used as collateral for the national debt. So if I title my car is used as collateral for the national debt. That's why I pay taxes on it. But since my car isn't titled, then it's not attached to the national debt, and they owe me versus me owing them. Now, if the registered owner still had the car, then the registered owner would have to pay to get it back. But consider I'm the unregistered owner, I don't have to pay to get it back, and they owe me money for taking it because by me being the unregistered owner, it's considered private property. So they owe me for taking my car. But back to having a security interest in your birth certificate. So if you have a lien on the car, the lien goes on the certificate of title. So you had a security agreement, which is between you and your name and all your property. Once you have that, you have to file a UCC-1 on your birth certificate, your EIN number, which is really your social without the dashes, and the account that you open with the Treasury. The reason why you had to have a UCC-1 is because it's public notice that you have a security interest in your birth certificate. Now, once you have that UCC-1, you have to open that account, which is called a UCC contract trust, with the Treasury. Now, people that keep saying, oh, sovereign citizen this, sovereign citizen that. A sovereign citizen is a U.S. citizen. Khalid, they can call Khalid all type of sovereign citizens because Khalid is a U.S. citizen. I'm the representative of Khalid. The government can't call me anything. The government knows I'm a representative because it's in the Constitution. And it's on the back of your debit card and it's on the signature line on your checks. So they already know I'm a representative. So by you having a security interest in your birth certificate, it's not sovereign citizen because when you have that security agreement, it's called an election. You basically, your name is electing you to be the authorized representative of your name. So once you had a security agreement signed and notarized, you're the authorized representative of your name. Even though you're the representative before you sign it, you don't have no evidence of it till you had a security agreement. So the UCC1 is based on the security agreement. Once you had the UCC1 is based on the security agreement, then you have to open your account with the Treasury. Now, the account is considered a securities account. Now, because I have a security interest in my name, once I deposit my birth certificate that has my accepted for value stamp with the Treasury, then the Secretary of the Treasury becomes a securities intermediary. I, the representative of Khalid, become an entitlement holder. So that stamp that's on the warrant of restitution, that's considered an entitlement order. So basically, I'm an entitlement holder of a security interest in my birth certificate. When you have a security interest in your birth certificate, you become the creditor. The United States is based on creditors and debtors. That's all that matters. Who is the creditor? Who is the debtor? The United States is the debtor. The United States citizen is the debtor. And the representative of the United States citizen is the creditor. So, when you have a bank loan, you're a debtor. When you pay that bank loan off, you're a creditor. And you're not even a creditor. You just don't have any debt. Only way you can become a creditor is that you have to give somebody something in order to be a creditor. So when you're born, your credit is given to the United States government, and the United States government gives the U.S. citizen a social security card and the birth certificate. So you have already given something to the United States government when you're born. That's why it's called the mark of the beast. That's your credit. That makes you a creditor. The United States will privately recognize it, but the United States will not publicly tell you that because the United States converted the people in the 10th Amendment into U.S. citizens so y'all can be debtors. If you're a debtor, you're a slave. If you pay rent, you're a slave. If you pay taxes, you're a slave. And it's how you pay it. If you get a letter about rent, or any of the letters I get, like the warrant of restitutions that I get, it's not a Federal Reserve note in the world that's going to stop that warrant of restitution. When you're the authorized representative of your name, you are in a foreign jurisdiction. It's not leaving the country foreign. It's leaving the corporate United States foreign. The Republic United States and the corporate United States are foreign to one another. I'm in a foreign jurisdiction. This paper right here, Maryland, state of Maryland. They're foreign to one another. So by me having a security interest in my birth certificate, and this is considered an entitlement order, that red stamp, that's considered an entitlement order. It is a qualified endorsement. Endorsement deals with instruments. The warrant of restitution is an instrument. It's signed by the agent for the plaintiff, the agent for the Baltimore City District Court, and it's signed by the agent of the defendant. The only person in that warrant of restitution that is not an agent that is in the United States is me. The agent for the plaintiff is in the United States, and the agent for the district court is in the United States. The agent for the defendant is not in the United States. And I take on the debt for the defendant, which is the tenant, use my stamp, I give it, and now, like I said, the Secretary of Treasury is liable. The United States been liable. Y'all took the liability. The United States put the liability on us when the birth certificate was created. But the liability was always with them. So you have to give the liability back to the United States. That's why the courts can't do anything. Y'all don't realize that. Like I said, at the end of the day, this is my spot rent free. Instead of y'all looking at me like, oh, he's trying to take away from the landlord. This is an apartment complex. The tenant had to use the social security number. Okay, I called maintenance to fix up the spot, right? Now, they told me like, oh, we can't talk to you anymore. Okay, cool. But they still took my order. They're going to bill the tenant's social security number. They've been billing the tenant's social security number to even give the tenant a bill to pay for rent. If the tenant didn't have a social security number, the tenant would have never qualified for the apartment complex to begin with. The tenant has been paid. The only people that don't get paid are private landlords. They really need money. And at the end of the day, they got to take that issue up with the government. Because the government's protecting the tenants. Why the government giving money to the landlords? Private landlords got to take their issue up with the government. So at the end of the day, I'm taking my issue up with the government. The stamp means they got to take care of that. I'm using the security interest that I have that makes me the creditor. When I put that stamp on that warrant of restitution, the defendant becomes the creditor. I've been the creditor. I make the defendant the creditor. The plaintiff, which is the leasing office, is the debtor. The District Court of Maryland, in this case, they're the debtor. The District Court is working for me. Before I put up that defense using that accepted for value stamp, the court was working for the plaintiff, which is the leasing office. So like I said, at the end of the day, when y'all talking about this is a scam, look this up. None of y'all can prove me wrong. Like, the courts already agree with me. The courts already know what's going on. As soon as I stamp it accepted for value, there's no more subject matter jurisdiction. I'm going to get another moot motion. They want to keep sending warrants of restitution because there's a possession judgment. If they can't get past the warrant of restitution, how they going to evict me? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I keep stopping them at the warrant of restitution. I'm going to keep stopping them at the warrant of restitution. Until I decide to leave this property, if I want to leave this property, all I had to do was not answer the warrant of restitution. Every time I answer it, it's over with. They can keep sending it as much as they want. As long as I keep stamping it, it's over. This is a commercial right. Having a security interest in your birth certificate is a commercial right. When you have a bank loan for a car, you got a promissory note and a security agreement. The promissory note is HJR 192. The security agreement is what you're missing. The security agreement makes you the representative of your name. Now, you were the representative before the security agreement, but you don't have any admissible evidence showing that. I have admissible evidence showing that I'm the authorized representative of my name. And like I said, my name is not on the lease, and I'm still able to stop it. My name don't have to be on the lease for me to stop it. I could do anybody's bills and my bills like that. So I put it like this. Let's say you in an apartment, right? And you're paying like $1,000 a month. You could hook up with me, and you could pay me like $300 a month. Keep that $700 in your pocket. And then if you rock with me for a little bit, I even get you your rent back. Like I said, all of this is a gift. And the reason why it's a gift is because it is a tax. Rent is a tax. Property tax is rent. It's rent. You don't own anything. So like I said, y'all trolling in the comments, but y'all don't own anything. My car's in an impound lot, and I own that car more than y'all own any car with a title for real. Like I said, you will never, the government, the NBA cannot put up a title that I filled out. They only have possession. They never have ownership. So not only am I going to get, I'm going to get the car back, but I'm going to get it back with money. I literally loaned my car to the impound lot. I'm charging them storage fees. They can't charge me anything. All the storage fees goes to the register owner. Unless the register owner's trying to get the car back, they can't charge me anything. And like I said, you know the funny part? And I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you something, right? The impound lot, they're holding my car for a government debt. Because if my car went to a private tow company that only had a contract with the government, if I would have showed them my bill of sale, I could have just paid to get the car back and sue later. Point blank, period. I've had my car go to private tow companies. I've used my bill of sale and gotten my car back every time. But of course, by it being in a Baltimore City impound lot, they want to hold it for a government debt. That's why it's taking long for me to get it back for real. But I'm billing them. So at the end of the day, as soon as I get my car back, I can't get the money for me loaning them the car until I get the car back. I'm still billing them. I'm still charging them storage fees. Y'all gotta realize they're not charging me any storage fees. They're charging the register owner storage fees. So when my case gets appealed and they'll see that it was a due process violation, they'll give me the car back. They can't prove ownership if I'm fighting for it. Like, they're going to eventually give up, give me the car back. Then I can go at them for the bread. So y'all gonna get right or get left.